Hi there, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm Cynthia Clark, your palm reading consultant and relationship expert. And we are here on another episode of Life is in Your Hands. And this podcast is all about helping you take charge of your life and different ways to do that. And I have a very special guest with me today. I'm super excited to introduce you to her. Her name is Cheryl Murphy, and she is a psychic medium. And she is so amazing. I've known Cheryl for years, and she is just such a beautiful person, and she is fantastic at what she does. And I thought today's topic would be really good for people who are going through a trauma of a death, because sometimes things happen. And I actually had a cousin of mine die just about a week ago, and she was in her early 50s, and it was very sudden. And it was like so traumatic for the family because it was like one day she was here and she had three kids doing great. Next day she's gone. I mean, it was you never know when somebody is going to be in your life and the next day they're not. So, Cheryl, you have a ton of experience with this, and I think people can really gain some valuable insights
Yeah,
on not only how to deal with it, but give us the bigger picture too of what's going on.
right.
So
Well,
thank you.
you're welcome. Well, Cynthia, thank you so much for having me. I'm so sorry about your loss, first off, for your loss.
Thank
So, what I do in my work, yeah, as a spiritual medium and a psychic, but what I do in my work is I help people connect with their loved ones on the other side to bring through validation, confirmation, evidential information that shows us that life is eternal and that love never dies and that our loved ones are very much a part of us. They are with us, they are supporting us, they hear us, they know we love them. And usually the questions that I get asked a lot is people want to know if their loved ones on the other side are okay. Like, are they okay? Do they, are they safe? What are they doing? And yes, in my readings, when I bring through information, there's nothing but love, love, love coming through, love and support. There's humor. Believe me, your loved ones on the other side, their personality comes through because that survives the physical death. The consciousness, the love, the spiritual being survives. And people that I give readings to, they do ask me, how long should I wait for a reading? Does it take, some people say it takes 6 months before, a medium can give a reading. Some people say maybe even longer, maybe not so much anymore these days. And that's really the answer is your loved ones are with you as soon as they cross over.
you. That's good
Um,
to know.
yeah, it's very good to know. And now they may come through very strong on the first reading, like if they just passed over, they may not come through as strong, or they might, just depending on the medium, because your loved ones in spirit, they're also learning how to communicate with the medium. That would be me. They're learning how to work with me. I'm learning how to work with them. So I raise my vibration, they lower their vibration. And then with you, you're the one that's actually, the person I sit across from that I'm reading, that actually brings the love to focus, to create the connection. So really, we can connect with our loved ones immediately after passing. Sometimes it just depends on how comfortable they are, in the how comfortable they are. Like, for example, because it was such a sudden occurrence for you and your cousins, Cynthia, you
Yeah.
know, um, they didn't expect it. You didn't expect it. I'm sure it's a much more of a shock to you. And therefore, but they are very prepared. And actually, when people cross over, they are greeted by their loved ones, their animals, their soulmates are over there, escorting them over. And I do believe that angels are very much a part of the health of helping this happen and helping to soothe anyone that's grieving this time. There are several angels around each and every one of us. Yeah.
So would you say when somebody does cross over,
Mhm.
that on some level they are ready for it when it happens? Do you believe that our timing is our perfect timing, no matter what?
Yes, I do believe that everyone goes at the absolute divine timing and absolutely the divine moment and second that they are supposed to leave. I do believe that they are aware of what's happening, that that is what's happening. I do believe that the people left here on earth, you and I, the ones that are left here when we lose a loved one, I have felt in my own experience of a loved one passing, and you may also, Cynthia, agree to this, that your energy, my energy, it's almost like we're certainly more emotional, and therefore our emotions are, part of our intuition, and we're much more aware, we're much more sensitive to um, our loved ones. I don't know if you feel that. It's almost as if a veil, or it's almost like we're being taken to that bridge and they cross the bridge and we're being taken there. We have that heightened intuitive ability, I feel, even weeks after their passing. Have you felt that at all with your cousin passing?
Uh, well, yeah, I mean, I'm always kind of in that zone. So
Mm-hmm.
I meditate a lot and I try to stay in that zone. But yeah, I mean, as soon as I heard about it, I definitely tuned into her and I felt like she was okay.
Good.
I was more worried about the people that she was closest to, like her kids.
Yeah.
And, that kind of prompted the whole point of doing this episode
Mm-hmm.
was I feel like a lot of times people don't, especially if it's unexpected, it's so difficult to kind of like, oh my gosh, what do I do now? And it can be a little bit scary.
Absolutely. I mean, it is one of the biggest life events. When someone passes and we don't expect it, it's much more of an impact than, for example, someone who has been, year after year after year, or month after month, like going down in health. Or, I mean, psychologically, the stress when it doesn't happen, when we don't expect it, it is much more of a blow to the psyche. But even the other way, it is too. But when we don't expect it, it's such a shock. We almost have to. It kind of compounds the grief or the grieving process. To where we have to deal with the shock of it and with the family members, and then we begin our grieving process, which we should honor the grieving process, because I want to tell you that it's such a sacred time. I know we're in grief and we're in mourning when our loved ones pass, and it is about taking care of yourself, of the immediate family. It's almost as if there is no more time and space. We're just working in this in between realm. That's why people sleep at different times of day. They lose track of time. Nothing else seems important except the immediate present moment, because that is what brings us into the present moment, is the love we have for those of us around in our family. So one piece of advice I'd like to just give people is it is about being easy with yourself, being gentle with yourself. There's no time limit on grieving. It is a very individual process, and it can become a time to honor yourself, a time to feel very sacred around those that you have still in your physical life, and of course those loved ones that have crossed over.
Yeah, so it is important to grieve. I definitely agree with that. Um, Sometimes though it seems to take years, like some people don't ever seem to get over a death. I mean, is there a time frame that we should have in mind, or is there, like what would you recommend with that?
Well, I do want to tell you that losing a loved one, whether it's an immediate family member or a close friend, an animal, anyone in your life, it's very different for everyone, and it is life changing. I mean, people will change many people who lose a loved one will step on the spiritual path and learn how to connect with their loved ones on the other side, or they'll go to a medium that they've never been to before. Their life will change. They'll start reading different books about consciousness or awareness because they want to find out what is over there, so to speak. And I just want to tell you, your loved ones are here. It's a vibration, it's a frequency that we share with them. It's just that maybe we have a lower vibration because we're in the physical body, so we're a little bit heavier, and they're much more of the spirit. They're much more free spirit, so to speak. So their energy is just naturally a little bit higher. As far as the time frame goes, what happens, I think, for a lot of people is they start looking within for the answers. They start like reading those books, and they start deciding for themselves, um, you know, where their loved ones are or how to connect with their loved ones. But I do think for people where it's just been 10 years, 20 years, 30 years in the grieving, there's always, hopefully they have support that's helping them, or, they're going to a grieving support group, which those are absolutely free. I know there are a lot of grief support groups to talk to, especially if you lose someone very soon and very close to you. It's kind of nice to go and connect with people just to start healing that process, because there is a tremendous amount of healing that comes through the grieving, and it will open people's awareness of about going within and connecting with your loved ones and finding your answers, finding your own answers in life about how to connect with people. I think is very self-serving. It's very important to find your own ideas, to make your own opinions, because everyone has a different experience with grief and
Sure.
mourning.
So would you recommend that if you lose somebody close to you, do you recommend that we try to talk to them ourselves? Like try to
Yeah.
communicate with them?
Mhm. I do recommend that, my goal as a spiritual medium is to also empower people how to be their own recipient to the spirit world, how to make them their own medium. But yes, I absolutely think it's a wonderful time to connect with your loved ones. I do want to say sometimes when you're grieving, um, the energy is very different. It's a grieving, it's a mourning where spirit knows that you have to almost, experience this process. So don't get hard on yourself if you feel stuck, or you try and nothing happens. But yes, absolutely ask for signs from the spirit world. Ask for an open conversation. Ask for them to, send you a heart. We could put that information out there, like, just send me a heart and let me know you're there. And so maybe the next day or so, you'll see either a heart on someone's t-shirt, or, on the cover of a book. Someone will draw a little heart, that you'll see next to you. But it is about, not being so hard on yourself that if you don't connect with them. That's why you do go see a medium or someone who can help you bridge that communication, and maybe even take a class or teach you that it really is through your love that we connect and receive messages from the spirit.
So if let's say it's been a certain amount of time, maybe even years
Mm-hmm.
since somebody died who you really loved and were close to, if you try to connect to them, is it possible that they wouldn't respond? Or, is that a possibility?
Yes, nothing is guaranteed and nothing is 100%. Anytime I come to my clients as a medium, whether it's on a private reading or it's a public demonstration, we don't control the spirit world. We don't guarantee that we're going to bring through that spirit, that specific loved one that they want to communicate with. We may bring through someone else, a next door neighbor or another relative that has a message for them. And then it's through that maybe the door will open and their loved one that they want to talk to will step in. But I also want to share with you that every medium's different, just like every person's different on this planet. Every spirit, every loved one is different too. So maybe you come to see me, and maybe the loved one either works with me very well. Maybe she or he likes me very well, or the animal likes, and we work together very well. Or it could be maybe I'm not the medium for you. I do believe that everyone has a medium, but not one medium a single medium can be everybody's medium. So always try to go to one or two different mediums and just see who works for you. But really, it does a lot depend also on the recipient. It depends on the client, if they're open to hearing, or sometimes we wish it so hard, or we focus so hard on it that it can kind of create a resistance, or it makes it a little bit more challenging. So anytime you go for a reading with anyone, just try to have an open mind and an open heart, really, and just walk in with that. And I really do feel there could be a wonderful, communication happening, But
Yeah.
yes, I do try to teach people to connect in their own way to their loved ones. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. So yeah, we can always pray, and we can always, sometimes we may connect to a different person or to another loved one. It may not be the one that we were expecting or that we were initially looking for, but it can be just as healing and beneficial.
Absolutely. And when you open up your intuition to receive messages, just know that the universe, our loved ones, the angels, the guides, they're sending us 1,000 messages a day. It's really us that have to remember what questions we asked, or just remember that that could have been a sign. But we have to learn that we can believe in our intuition, that gut instinct, because a lot of times what will happen is, if the second voice that comes over that we'll have that first thought, or that first inner voice, that's our intuition. The second voice that comes in is the doubtful voice, right? That's the doubtful saying, oh, that didn't really happen. Oh, that couldn't have been. That was too easy. They
Sure.
wouldn't have done it. And really what we do is we try to quiet that doubtful mind, and we try to strengthen that first voice, that intuitive mind. And we learn that spirit is connecting with us absolutely on a daily basis.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. So, so if people would like to work with you, you're out of California, is that right?
That's right. I'm in the greater Los Angeles area. So people could work with me in person, or with technology these days. I do Skype, the Zoom video conferencing. I do phone readings quite often. And that way I can reach people around the world, coming from the comfort of their own home. Yeah.
So anybody who wants to either try to connect to their loved one who's crossed over, or you do other types of readings as well, is that right?
I do a spiritual mediumship with where I do connect with loved ones, or guides, or angels. I also work with my psychic intuition, where I'm helping people on a day-to-day basis. So maybe they have whether they have health concerns, or they have relationship questions, whether they have career. I get a lot of career calls about taking certain jobs or applying for different career paths. I also get a lot of questions around relocating, people moving, and also, people just want to learn about their own intuition. So I do mentoring, individually, privately. I also have a monthly intuitive mentorship program where you can join me online on a month-to-month basis if you wish. So I try to make myself as available to help people, once again, to empower their own intuition.
Wow, that sounds amazing. I think everybody can benefit from that.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, because I think, we all have intuitive abilities, but a lot of times we just don't know how to harness it, or we're just not sure, what are the steps to take.
It's true. We all have, just like we have a physical muscle, like a bicep, we all have that muscle. And so we all have this intuitive muscle, this spiritual muscle. And it's really, Cynthia, just about exercising it, I'll share some exercises with you on how to strengthen it. We want to practice opening up our intuition. We want to practice listening to that first voice. So I really think, like you said, we all have that intuitive ability. It does come out, or it opens up. We are called to listen to it at certain times in our life. So
Right.
it's really something that can help us even achieve, our life's dreams and desires. It can help us make life's decisions a little bit easier too.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. Can
Yeah.
definitely help us in our everyday, just getting through our everyday lives.
Yeah. So, I invite people to sign up for my newsletter or check out my blog, my website. It's psychic medium CherylMurphy.com. Get on my newsletter, check out my website. I'm always doing some public demonstrations in California, or I'm always doing some online events now, which are becoming increasingly popular, where I do readings online for people in a group format. And then I'm always teaching classes. So it's a great way to join me, to get to know me, and see if you'd like to sign up for a private reading for me too.
Well, thank you, Cheryl. That is such useful information. So thank you so much for coming on the show. And it's just, thank you for being you.
Yeah, and Cynthia, likewise. Thank you for all that you're doing to help people, live an inspired life, right? To help people live a heartfelt, a heart-centered life, where there's, it's so fulfilling when we find those love relationships. So thank you so much for your help too.
Yes, thank you. And thank you everybody for joining us on today's episode. If you liked this episode, please subscribe to our podcast, and please share it with your friends and family, especially today's episode about just dealing with loss. And if you have any questions and you would like us to answer them on the show, feel free to reply to the podcast, and trust me, I'm out there reading everything. So I want to provide you with valuable content so that you can enhance your life in every way. So thanks for joining us today, and I look forward to connecting with you again in a very near future episode. So thanks, Cheryl, and have a great day, everybody.
Have a great day.